Thank you for joining us. My name is Carrie Sobel. I am the Chief Marketing Officer here at Coastal, and today I have two awesome guests on our show, The Coastal Conversation. I'm joined by Matt Welsh and Avery Buchholz. Both of you are doctors, so I should probably say Dr. Welsh and Dr. Buchholz.
Yeah, so thanks for having us, Carrie. I'm Matt Welsh. I'm an orthopedic surgeon by trade, subspecialized in surgery of the hand and the upper extremity.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Avery Buchholz. I'm a neurosurgeon here in Orlando, new to Orlando. I was in Virginia, South Carolina prior to coming here, but happy to be here. I'm working with Orlando Health, again, neurosurgery primarily, doing spine surgery.
Today we really just want to talk a little bit about investing as a physician. We have a myriad of different investors from every different type of background, but particularly it's different when you're talking with a physician from the time that you have to spend to get familiar with what it is that we do, and so many other things. So let's talk about getting involved with Coastal. Matt, you want to start? How did you hear about Coastal? How did you get involved with us?
Yeah, it's a pretty storied history. I've known some of the chiefs of the company, Keith Ahrens and Tyler Blockinger, who are Chief Operating Officer and Financial Officer, respectively, since 2008. Went to college together, and then shortly after ended up meeting CEO Greg Meerbaum. I made my first investment with one of their multifamily deals in Melbourne, which is in Brevard County, where I'm from. So I knew a lot about the area and the growth. And here we are 2.5 years later, 7 or 8 deals and multiple referrals to Coastal, be it physicians or other high net worth individuals, and really enjoyed the growth and the vision so far.
Avery, tell us how you got involved with Coastal.
So mine's a little bit more drawn out.
Yep.
And as you'll see from our discussion today, I'm a little more hesitant when it comes to some of these financial dealings. But I had been introduced to Greg through a friend in the medical world, and it probably took 2 years before I made like an actual investment. But I really liked Greg when I met him, loved what he had to say. We became friends, kind of watched what some of the guys had done, the investment deals they had done, watched kind of the return, and you just learn more about the company. And again, I'm always a little more reserved when it comes to these sort of things. So it took me a while to jump in myself. But now that I have jumped in, not necessarily regret that I didn't do it sooner, but excited to be here and looking forward to kind of moving forward.
You guys in your profession have a pile of debt that you get before you start really taking from what you're earning a significant portion of it. How does that play into something with just general investing? Forget Coastal for a second.
Most physicians coming out of medical school are north of $150,000 worth of debt, even, still large proportions of north of $200,000 of debt. So the old saying goes, you may remember hearing this along the way, I've heard it several times, is you actually don't finish medical school until you've completely paid for it.
I think it's hard coming out, like you talked about. It's med school, then it's a residency that, depending on what you do, it could be 3 to 7 years, maybe a fellowship, and there's other tracks of professional lives in there. I was 36 when I took my first job as a paying attending, but you're kind of like a professional athlete coming out making good money, and you want a house, you want the cars, you want to do these things you've been delaying yourself. So it's kind of delayed gratification, but then you also have the debt. You want to be smart with your money, so it's hard to kind of balance all that. And still make good financial decisions. And so this is appealing to have these sorts of resources and investment tools.
What things were you guys investing in prior to investing with Coastal?
A little bit,
if anything.
Yeah, a little bit in the stock market,
Mm-hmm.
A lot in savings. And I had some kind of savings accounts built up with like 5% returns and things like that. But I was not real aggressive with my investing. And a part of it was I didn't trust a lot of things. I didn't have access to a lot of opportunities. The things I did do in the stock market were pretty benign, nothing sexy.
How's your guys' experience been so far from customer service, education, and just understanding everything that it is that we do?
If the last 2.5 years have been any indication of how the future of Coastal's business is going to be, the future is really bright.
Very bright.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Once you're in that door, you are part of the family. You get access to all the resources, the people. You have immediate contact to yourself and all the other players in the department. The other people you work with too are heavy hitters. So being able to be involved with those groups of people, it makes you feel good about your money and where your money is going, and the people who are kind of managing and using it.
it's great to hear that, because we kind of treat it the same way internally on our leadership team. Is we obviously love working with each other, but everybody that is connected within Coastal is no more than 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
So everything that we do with Coastal is either tax efficient or tax deferred. Coastal was created when our founders and CEO had a large taxable event and wanted to create a solution to his problem, which he then wanted to share with other people that experienced the same thing.
We do work really hard, and it's hard to know what's smart to do with your money. And opportunities like this are not for everybody, and they don't come along or present themselves to everybody. And I think that's the biggest thing, is we just don't. Most people don't have access to these sorts of resources. And I think doing things like this gives you access to potential bigger opportunities. It's also, like Matt said, you can call another physician and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I've met so many people now that I've called, and before I do an investment, I say, hey, are you doing this? Like, what are your thoughts on this? And just their kind of perspective on it gives me the reassurance I need to say, yeah, I think this is the right thing for me. And we all do it together. Yeah. We trust one another, and it's a good resource.
Primarily at Coastal, we invest in institutional real estate. Real estate to me and to most is one of the steadiest, smoothest types of investments. In fact, I don't know the exact statistic, but I think it's in the 70 or 80% of the wealthiest Americans' portfolio is invested in institutional real estate. So to you two as physicians, why do you enjoy the asset classes that are institutional real estate? And maybe even touch on a particular one that you guys like, from multifamily, self-storage. Talk a little bit about some of the asset classes that we eye up here at Coastal.
The hedging against the stock market, and then we touched on it earlier, just some of the advantageous tax efficiencies that we can realize through real estate without having direct involvement in real estate, and taking care of things commonly referred to, toilets and trash, where you're a direct investor.
And Coastal and the people you are involved with and work with, like you said, they have a great track record. Yeah, I can trust that. And it's nice to just be able to put your money with them, put your money with you, and kind of sit back and watch the returns happen and realize the gains.
Yeah.
So, and the benefit with investing with you versus with the real estate and the stock market is we're getting at a higher level investment, whereas there's multiple levels of kind of trickle down that when you're in the stock market, you just don't realize that those gains.
I get involved in the first multifamily deal in Melbourne, which just broke ground, actually.
I'm very excited about that.
Super excited about that. Months later, a self-storage facility, a ghost storage facility that already had concrete poured for the foundation. Coastal has built these partnerships with institutional sponsors that they get a late seat at the table when all of the red tape is, concrete being poured and all of the red tape removed for anything that can stop a deal from happening.
Mm-hmm. When Greg was forming his family office, his instructions from the beginning was, I want every type of earning that we have to be the most tax efficient that it possibly can.
If you don't get yourself in a position to learn about it from people who are experts, you're never going to enjoy the spoils that these opportunities can hold. The tax benefits in what we do elsewhere are just very, very limited. And so if nothing else, learn about how you can kick the tax can a little bit, defer some of your income. There's nothing better than real estate for that. The people who are the most wealthy people in the world know that. Like you brought up the statistic earlier. Yeah. So I'm happy to kind of follow the narrative of the people that are most wealthy on a much smaller scale, obviously, but that's reason enough for me.
People are out there utilizing our capital at Coastal to build institutional real estate, provide incredible returns, and sometimes give you some income along the way.
Having an opportunity like this where you can have income that you invest in, it earns returns, and you can do that as you sleep, like you mentioned, that's huge. Yeah. So we just don't have access to a lot of those options.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we're here to provide successful people with access to and advice about institutional real estate and venture capital opportunities. That is our mission statement. And as we go about continuing to go through our network and people that we've rubbed shoulders with over the years, physicians primarily have been something that has stood out as, I think this group of professionals are probably the furthest removed from understanding what it is that we do and how they could potentially have access to it.
Yeah.
Which is, one of the reasons why we wanted to have the conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a triple layer due diligence process here at Coastal. we actually, when we were solicited a deal or provided a deal or an opportunity from a sponsor across the country, they typically provide their due diligence with their package. Everybody needs to do that.
Yeah.
We then not only do our internal due diligence between our board of 11 advisors, we also send it out to some of the best due diligence firms in the country for that third level check, just for us to even consider if we want to say maybe.
Right.
Not even yes, maybe.
Yeah.
So, the fact that we put our own money in our deals as part of our coastal partnership, in addition to our coastal investors, the same type of process we would take for our investors, we're doing that for ourselves.
There have been things that have helped my personal financial situation that were not directly related to a coastal investment, but they were directly related to someone on the coastal advisory board getting me in the right hands. So you're talking about customer service, which is basically the industry that you and I are in when it boils down to it. That was really big. They helped solve a problem of mine that didn't necessarily come through a coastal investment.
We have entrepreneurs and people connected from so many different professions. Our job is to connect everybody within our network, not only from the products and services we're offering, but just that general connectivity.
Yeah.
So it's been nice so far.
Yep.